What's up, everybody? I'm Patrick,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the Outside Line Media Podcast. Today, we've got a really fun episode for you guys. We're going to start off with IndyCar on Fox, and then Ryan, what did the people want?
The Daytona 500. We're going to be giving our predictions for quali and for the race, obviously, and a couple other special topics as we always do.
They're very relevant to Daytona.
Yes, the true Daytona predictions.
Before we hop into it, guys, I just wanted to shout out a couple things. We now have a official IndyCar fantasy league down in the description below. Join up. We just want to have some fun with the community. Maybe towards the end of the season, we'll see if there's a fun prize for the first person in the first place. But we just want to have some fun with you guys and interact with you guys a little bit more. See if maybe your predictions are better than ours. So let's go head to head on this. Links down in the description to join up. It's completely free. Next thing, just like and subscribe, guys. It makes our life amazing. I love seeing that like count go up. And we're doing this completely free and just absolutely love doing this content. And the only thing we ask in return is just that like and that subscribe if you're enjoying what you're seeing. And hey, if you hate what you're seeing, dislike it. Let us know so that we can change our content. All right, guys. All right, let's move into IndyCar on Fox. We're recording this the day after the Super Bowl, and let me just say, Fox cooked. I love what they're doing. NASCAR fans aren't happy with Fox right now.
Yeah, I mean, they gave them ads. The Daytona 500 had ads, but I really was surprised. They released the placement of the ads before the Super Bowl, but when
and
it
all
said
the ads
that,
before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they did run them all on the pregame, including a special one, the tire ad, them doing a burnout.
Yeah.
And it's a bad day to be a tire. But I was very impressed with the placement of was it the New Garden one that was right at halftime?
Yeah, right before the halftime show.
The halftime ended, commercial break, first commercial. I mean, that's prime placement, especially this year. A lot of people were excited about the Kendrick Lamar halftime show.
Yeah.
So people were already glued to their TV. I mean, it's Super Bowl. Every commercial matters. But I think it was huge. Let me tell you exactly how huge this was. So I'm watching the Super Bowl, and Patrick can attest to this because he was here. My phone rings, and I get a call from my father. And he says, "Is Joseph Newgarden a real person?" So at least it's getting the boomers' attention. It's getting their attention at least. I don't know if they're retaining said information, but he did say the words Joseph Newgarden. So
even people like in my classes were asking me about the ad today in my marketing class because they all know that I'm a huge motorsports guy and I'm basically an addict. I can stop at any time, I swear. But I mean, it definitely got people's attention, and I think the production value on the ads is the biggest thing. Like, I think if you compare the Daytona 500 ads and the IndyCar ads, I mean, not even the Indy 500. I'm excited for the Indy 500 ads. I'm just gonna say that. But I mean, these are just for St. Pete. Like, this is a nothing race in the eyes of previous TV providers who I'm not going to name. And I think if we can just get that audience that watches the Indy 500, one of the biggest sporting events in the entire world, if we can just bring some of that audience into the mainstream and into everyday IndyCar, it's just going to make the sport grow to a point that we've never seen before. I mean, we're talking even bigger than the kart IndyCar pre-split days. That's what I'm excited for.
I really think Fox is taking the approach that no other, like you're saying, no other company that's broadcasted for them has done, which is IndyCar is bigger than the Indy 500. Mm-hmm. It's easy to lean on the Indy 500. It's easy to month of May.
People know the Indy 500. But everyone knows the Indy 500.
It's a shame that they don't market the rest enough, and I think Fox is showing that. And it really takes me back to mid-2010s sports advertising.
Yeah.
Stuff like that Sports Center did, those kind of ads, and I love it. The format is good. Obviously, they're going to have to switch eventually, but I think they could cook a few more of these. I mean, oh my God. I mean, you could do literally every driver if you wanted.
Yeah, I think we definitely need a David Malukas one that goes
Yeah.
live not as a TV ad. I think he'd be wasted as a TV ad, but like Instagram, like social media ads, like a YouTube ad. I think David would be perfect for that because it'd
Yeah,
be the
for
perfect
sure.
Gen Z brain rot kind of ad.
Yeah. And the format's good, and I think they can reuse it a lot. I'm excited to see what else they cook up. I didn't hate the Daytona 500 ads. I don't think they were great.
They
And
just
I think
weren't as good.
NASCAR's always had the problem of like they don't market their drivers well enough, I feel like. And IndyCar's done the same until now, but I mean,
Yeah, I mean, and the thing with NASCAR is I just feel like there's not as like diverse of personalities in it. A lot of those drivers are kind of one dimensional.
this is not the shit on NASCAR, obviously. We love
Yeah,
NASCAR.
I love NASCAR. I
It's
just
more the marketing than
and it
anything. They don't
might just be that
show
I'm not educated in that part and these
that
drivers are these exciting people. They just need to show that.
the marketing has to show that. And I think that's what IndyCar's doing. Because if you didn't watch IndyCar, no one you'd never see the willpower double bird. I
Yeah.
mean, that's legendary. You never know. I mean, they don't even straight up mention it, but clearly they slightly do with the my kid hates it. The Alex Pillow, like it's great, and I think having Super Bowl commercials, having 3 of them during the game and 4 of them during the pre-game lead up,
Yeah.
it was cool. I mean, I didn't think I'd get so excited to see an IndyCar ad on TV. I was like, oh, I know
Yeah.
that because you haven't seen that outside of Indy 500 ads, which of course it's going to do Indy 500 ads, but outside Indy 500 ads, you don't see them.
I think we really need to put a focus on the drivers because then we're going to get those casual Formula One fans. I hate to say it, those Drive to Survive fans, but that's the group that's spending money on merchandise. That's the group that's paying money to go to Grand Prix. This is the group that we need to target in order to grow the sport. Is we need to
Formula
target to the
works.
people that care more about the drivers than the racing.
The formula works, and you know,
You'd say the
I
formula
think
is
I
number
think Drive to
one.
Survive. The Drive to Survive's good. Funny. Like Drive to Survive was good because I think it humanized them.
Yeah,
And yeah, there might be some people who just look at it for the people, but there is a lot of genuine motorsports fans that came out of that series,
100%.
and that's great. And I think that in the end, if you think Drive to Survive or anything else was anything but a net positive, you're lying to yourself. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's incredibly good for the sport, and IndyCar needs a Drive to Survive.
I
You
hate
know what I
I
mean? A
hate
moment.
saying Drive to Survive fan because it has a negative connotation.
Yeah, I don't
I
mean
don't mean
negative
it
by
in a
it,
negative way. I mean it as these fans that came from Drive to Survive. And the way I mean it is more the fans that care more about the drivers than the racing. And I think
which
the
is a lot.
IndyCar's missing that market. Yeah, like you ask somebody wearing a Ferrari Formula One shirt, like, oh, what did you think of this race? Oh, Charles did good. And that's all they're gonna know about it, but that's fine because that's what most casual sports fans are like. I mean, it's the equivalent of cheering for one team in the NFL or one team in the NBA, in my opinion.
Which isn't crazy.
Yeah,
It's not crazy to only follow who you like.
exactly.
And I think the
There
more
are
we
the weird
make
people that follow everything about it, like us, but
well, yeah,
we're
it's
the we're the minority. We're not going to be the people that you have to worry about marketing to because I'm going to tune into every single race I can.
you don't have to put an advertisement. I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll show up if I have
We
to.
were watching the SCCA regional Cabin Fever race the other day because we just got sick of not having racing to watch. So
We
we
were trying to
found
watch
an
horse racing.
SCCA
We were
free
trying to watch horse
stream.
racing. We were down bad. We were trying to watch horse racing.
Yeah.
All right. We were
We need to go to the
the
track sometime, Ryan.
yeah, I actually fun fact, I live about a minute from a horse race track. So
Yeah.
slash casino. Well, gaming. You can't call it a casino.
It's
in
not
Kentucky.
really. There's no card
It's
tables. I
gaming.
don't consider it a casino.
But yeah,
But
no, I think the marketing strategy, Fox coming out swinging, showing that they'll put their money where their mouth is because they're losing a lot of money giving up those ad placements for IndyCar ads. And that's
$49
big.
million, roughly.
That shows commitment to pushing this and making it more popular. And that is good for everyone.
Yeah. And the
No matter what
marketing nerd in me, I started looking at the search analytics a little bit afterwards. So IndyCar didn't spike a ton. It did spike, but roughly the same spike we see like the weekend of a Grand Prix, which is good for not being the weekend of a Grand Prix. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But Joseph Newgarden was almost as searched as NASCAR was.
Wow.
Like, I mean, those spikes, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. absolutely wild statistics. I don't know what to say about that other than this is a great thing for the sport.
All I have to
The
say, thank you,
downside is
Fox.
if I Google Joseph Newgarden right now, does it show the cheating and everything like that? That's the only downside I can think of. But I feel like we're far enough removed from that it's probably not out there. And if IndyCar was smart, they
Yeah,
probably pushed some other material to make sure it was at the top before these ads
yeah.
ran.
Especially when you race for a team called Penske.
um, yeah, but overall, just net positive, I think, with this new TV deal. We will see how it goes next year. I am curious to see kind of how this tails off. Because from what I've heard, this was kind of similar to how NASCAR was being treated in like 2001, I think, when Fox got the rights for it. So I mean, we'll see.
Yeah,
They're
hopefully
doing
they
great. They're doing great this year. Hats off to them. I'm excited to see how they do it throughout the rest of the season, especially if we end up getting a title fight like we normally do for Nashville. How they advertise that, I'm excited.
Yeah, I want them to keep cooking. Obviously, I'm not going to be surprised if there's not the Super Bowl ad next year and such a great placement. Maybe
Yeah,
somewhere at the Daytona 500 from years on where it's in unfavorable ad slots. Well, every Super Bowl ad slot's favorable, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
The less favorable of the favorable.
and
But yeah, I'm excited.
I am kind of curious because like we were talking about yesterday, um, IndyCar is exclusively on Fox, so I wonder if that will kind of change their advertising strategy for it compared to NASCAR, which has like 5 different TV providers this
Yeah,
season.
Fox is all in because any benefit they get is 100% to them. There's no splitting of the anything.
Yeah,
It's they get all the money from it being good broadcast wise. So yeah, I mean with the hirings, I mean everything that Fox has done so far has made me happy. They
yeah.
have not made a decision that pisses me off yet, and that's impressive.
The
Maybe not
only
pisses me off. I'm not even disappointed with anything. I like the commentators. I like the commercials.
they cooked
I
with the
like
commentary booth.
oh yeah
I just the only thing I'm a little disappointed by, and it's just convenience for me, but I understand why not being able to use Peacock to watch IndyCar anymore and not really having a good mobile app to watch IndyCar anymore. There should be ways for me to fix that because I
it
know
might be a
my parents
Fox.
have cable. There should be
It
like a
might be a
Fox
Fox Sports
Sports
app.
app that I can get.
Yeah,
But that's my only downside, and I think that Fox does need to release something showing like the alternatives to just cable for fans to be able to watch this content if they want those TV ratings to go up. Because I
yeah,
mean, I'm probably crazy enough to where I would spend $80 just to be able to watch IndyCar, $80 a month. But like, I understand people not wanting to do that, and your casual fans aren't going to pay that much money.
no, I definitely think that's a necessary thing to do. Because right now people are kind of forced if they don't have cable, they have to get one of the cable equivalents, like
Yeah,
YouTube TV. I don't know what other ones have it to be honest. Is Fubo just TV?
Fubo is. I forget what
Fubo
I
has
think I
Fox
was going to
Sports.
watch some NHL games on there.
I'm spoiled. I have cable. I
Yeah.
pay for cable. I pay for sports packages. If there's a sports channel, I have it.
I have
So
cable on a TV right over there. I just need to figure out how to get it on my PC.
yeah, I have the one that I use is able to get there. But yeah, Fox, you're doing great. Keep it
Keep it
up.
up.
We love you. We love you. And
Yeah.
keep this up. And I'm very and it's getting me like adjacent wise, for me personally, I know I'm atypical to a lot of people. These ads got me hyped up for the 500, the Daytona 500,
Yeah.
because it just got me itching for racing. Like I can't. I need racing like today. I don't know if I can wait till Sunday.
I need
Well,
racing, bro. I need racing. um yeah, but also if anyone's listening from Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, what
North
was
Carolina, South Carolina.
North Carolina, South Carolina, if you buy us a 30 rack of Daytona Edition Bush, I will pay you $50 to then keep
Yeah,
it until we can pick it up or meet up at a race.
yes, because I desperately need. I might be hitting eBay. Might be hitting eBay.
But
I
you
don't know
won't
if
be able
that's
to
what
buy it
you.
because it's alcohol.
Eh,
They won't have it on eBay.
I'll find a way. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get a hold of these Bush Light cans.
Worst
If
case,
I
I
have,
might drive to Tennessee this week. Dude, if this snow day happens tomorrow, I don't have to be back at campus until
no,
5 p.m. for a networking event.
Is there snow tomorrow?
Yeah, it's supposed to get like 4 inches or something like that, like 1 to 4 inches. That's a
Sick.
lot. 4 inches is a lot, guys. um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I might try to pick up a 30 rack of the Daytona edition bushes. I was really hoping because we were, Kroger's headquarters are in Cincinnati, we'd get them, but
Yeah.
alas. Let's move on.
What are you gonna
Speaking
do?
of Busch Light Daytona edition, let's move on to our Daytona 500 predictions. Starting with who out of the non-chartered cars is going to qualify for the race. If you aren't staying up to date, if you aren't in the know, there are 36 chartered cars in NASCAR, and there are 40 spots open for the Daytona 500. 41 if Helio Castroneves does not qualify for the 500. He is locked in no matter what. So there's a possibility of either 40 cars or 41 cars in the 500. So we had to predict what drivers we thought out of the non-chartered cars would make it into the field of the 500. So Ryan, who do you have for this?
So in no particular order, honestly, just pure make or break in
Your
my opinion,
vibes.
because it doesn't matter. I got Jimmy Johnson making it because they did literally go on social media and say you'll see this car in the 500. So I think they're going to trim the shit out of that car. It's going to be undrivable in any format except qualifying. But that car is going to qualify. I got Martin Truex Jr.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson is also Jimmy Johnson, so
Yeah, it's Jimmy Johnson. Martin Truex Jr. And for the same reason, Martin Truex Jr. He just retired. It's not like he's out of his flow. He was just racing not too long ago. He'll be all right. I got Chandler Smith. It's a Ford. It's going to make it. It's all right. Don't even worry about it.
You sure you want to look at how Ford did in the last season of NASCAR?
Moving on. Justin Algier, however you say it. I've heard it both ways. Algier, right?
I don't know. I was calling Justin Allgaier.
Justin Algier. And I have Helio qualifying. I think Helio is going to qualify. But not, he's going to actually qualify. So it'll be 40 cars is my. Okay. So what you got?
So I got Justin Allgaier. I also think 40 cars. So then Helio Castroneves, I think he's definitely going to make it. I've got Martin Truex Jr. And as much as I hype him up, I think he's going to maybe trim the car out too much, hit the wall during qualifying. Jimmy Johnson is not going to make the 500.
Okay.
I think Corey LaJoie is going to sneak into the 500. And this prediction is going to round back later.
Oh, he's gonna have Corey LaJoie winning the damn thing.
No, I don't. I do not have Corey LaJoie winning the 500.
Yeah, that's impressive. I just realized I listed five, so I have 41 cars going in. I had Helio.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was doing the math in my head, but I thought I was wrong. So
the way I wrote it, I confused myself on my document. Helio, I have Helio making it in not
qualifying. Okay.
So there's going to be 41 cars.
I mean, he was in the car last year for at least the Indy 500. So
yeah, I think that's
Yeah, we'll see how the vibes are. All right, Patrick, top five. You go first. What do you got? Your winner. We already talked about these. Did you keep your winner? I kept my winner the same. I think Helio Castroneves is going to win the Daytona 500. And join Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt as the legendary people who have won all three, the Rolex 24, the Daytona 500, and the Indy 500. I think that's what that stat is. I'm like 99% sure.
What a story that would be. What a story that would be.
It would be iconic, and if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Spider-Man. And I want to see him climb the catch fence at Daytona, provided it doesn't get destroyed in a last lap crash.
We'll get to that.
P2, I've got Ryan Blaney. Just pure vibes. I think he usually does well at plate races, and I see probably a pretty close finish between him and Helio. One of them being on the high line, one of them being on the low line and getting pushed. P3, I've got Chase Briscoe. Again, just vibes. I mean, Daytona is pure vibes. It doesn't matter who the best driver is. It's so much luck. I then have Martin Truex Jr. getting P4. I think he's
Ooh,
gonna qualify towards the back, but then work his way up in the field. I think that just racecraft of being in NASCAR for so long, I think that's really going to help him get up there in this race. And then on P5, I've got AJ Allmendinger.
okay, okay. It's a nice list. Nice list. I have Kyle Busch winning as we did in the preseason test. I think kind of same thing with Helio. What a story that would be
Yeah,
for Kyle Busch to get back in,
after
win a race.
going winless. And it's kind of the same with Martin Truex Jr. getting into it. I would be fine with him winning after both of them going winless last season.
Yeah, it would be nice, a cool way to really start the official part of the season. I have Denny Hamlin in second, um, and Chase Elliott behind him. Those are two, premier NASCAR drivers. Now the odds of two premier NASCAR drivers not getting crashed out, we'll see. But
Yeah,
those are guys that are always there. They're
yeah,
always going to be there. In third, I have Chase Elliott. Oh, I said that already.
yeah.
In fourth, I have Bubba Wallace.
Okay.
I think he could be higher. I think Bubba Wallace is going to have a good race, and I'll get more on that
Hey,
later.
you know I rate Bubba Wallace, so
And in fifth, I pray to God he makes it, Jimmy Johnson. I think if he makes it, which I think he will. Like I said, they're going to trim the hell out of that car.
hmm
I think he'll do good because it's Jimmy Johnson. It's Jimmy Johnson. It doesn't
yeah,
matter how long it doesn't matter. It's Jimmy Johnson.
yeah.
And that Shaq car looks amazing if it does make it. That is a great looking car.
All right, hit the apex, Ryan. Who you got for hitting the apex this week?
I have Bubba Wallace,
Okay.
and one of his two, I think, wins he has, maybe two or three wins, I think. One of them came in 2021 at Talladega. So, super speedways,
Yeah.
restrictor plate race. He's good at them. I think he's going to have a good race, and he's kind of sitting in a position where he's got to pop. He needs to have his year, and I really hope it's his year this year, and I think he's going to have a good race, and I'm really hoping
hmm
that he can string it together and just stay out of trouble, because that's all Daytona is, just stay out of trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's definitely over the years he's gotten a cooler head.
Yeah.
I think that was one of his issues with especially plate racing earlier on in his career is he was very much like fired up and he would not hesitate to fight someone even if they were doing nothing, like when he crashed Kyle Larson out and then started throwing punches at him. But that's NASCAR, baby. Um my hit the apex is he's done phenomenal on road courses. He's lacked a little bit in the ovals. I think Shane Van Gisbergen is
Ooh,
going to hit
I
the
like
apex and get
that.
a solid top 10 at Daytona this year.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. I love SVG.
Dude can wheel. I think he's going to stay out of trouble. I think if anyone can dodge a big one at Daytona, it's SVG. I mean,
Yeah.
dude's just a mad lad. I think he's definitely, spoiler alert, I think he's going to make the playoffs this year just purely off of road course wins. But I think he's just a fantastic driver, and I think he's kind of underrated on the ovals because he hasn't had too much experience on them. But I think Daytona's a proving ground, man. And I think that during the off season, he will have spent a lot of time on the sim, learning a little bit more about oval racing. I'm excited to see what he brings to the track.
Yeah. I like that. I like that pick. I hope he does. I love
hmm
SVG. And I also think, I think he's going to make the playoffs. He's just got to win one of those road course races, like you said. So,
Yeah.
going to make it. But, all right, Patrick, who do you have for missing the apex?
I got Corey
Your turn.
LaJoy missing the apex.
All
I
right, you brought
think
it back. You brought it all around.
I think he's going to somehow make it into the race. He's not finishing the race. And this will come into another prediction later, too.
I know we're going with this. I like it. I like it.
Ryan, who you got missing the apex?
I have Kyle Larson missing the apex this week.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, super
It's
speedways
not-
and Kyle, I feel
yeah, it's not really a hot take necessarily. The numbers are there with him on super speedways. I don't know if he finishes. If he doesn't wreck, I don't think it'll be because of his fault, but I do think he will get caught up in something. And
Yeah.
I think if he'll finish, he's not going to finish on the lead lap. I don't think.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. Kyle Larson is great, but super speedways aren't his thing. We know this. It's not new information.
Yeah, you'll notice he's nowhere near my top 5. Even as a Larson fan, I got to be realistic. He frankly he sucks at plate races. Dude really needs to work on his plate racing. But
Yeah.
I mean, can you really complain with how good he is on every other track?
Yeah.
But I think the he needs to get it to be able to get those crown jewel wins. All right. Ryan, how many big ones do you think there are going to be?
I think it's going to be a calm year. A solid 3 big ones this year.
I'm right there with you, actually. I think there's going to be 3 big ones during the race.
I think it's a reasonable amount. Well, 500 miles, 200 laps. You're going to have
3 big ones. One every like 80 laps or so.
Yeah.
Now, who do you think is going to cause the biggest one?
The biggest one. I when I was looking at the document for the format, I do love that you put the biggest one. I got William Byron causing the biggest one.
Okay.
With this is obviously kind of just a vibes pick. It could literally be anyone. Wrong place, wrong time in the Daytona 500. You check up. 13 cars are out, you know?
Yeah.
And on that note, who do you think is going to cause the biggest one?
Corey LaJoie is causing the biggest one. Dude is going to somehow knock out Jimmy Johnson from qualifying and then proceed to just send it straight into the wall in the first half of the race.
Wow, you think he's going to cause the biggest one in the first half of the race? Okay.
Yep. I think it's going to be right after a pit sequence. Everyone's kind of tightened up a little bit, and dude just doesn't know how to drive, sends it into the wall, and causes a huge wreck.
I can't disagree. I can't.
It's Corey LaJoie. Like,
how many cars are going to be in that biggest one, Patrick? I slightly leaked my answer. I think there's going to be 13 cars in the big one. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be a big one. I mean, that's a big one regardless. That's almost half, but
yeah.
How many you got, Pat?
I got 12 cars in the big one.
12. Man, we are right around each other on these numbers.
Yeah. I mean, just vibes. You got Daytona, you got pack racing. I think it's going to be 12 cars. Yeah. Now, are we saying that's 12 cars severely damaged where they go multiple laps down, basically, is how we're counting that?
That's how I did it in my head. Because if you just get nicked and you keep driving, if you have to pit, whoever goes to pit lane after the big one.
And not for punctures.
As a result of damage.
Yes. All right. And finally, this is kind of a free space. Are we going to end under yellow?
I have a frowny face next to it, but yes, I think we will under yellow. What is it, 4 of the last 5 years we've ended under yellow?
Cautions breed cautions.
It's Daytona 500. You get near the end of the race, people don't know how to behave. They see red.
Yeah.
And they're in a race like they see red. So
yeah, I think it's going to be an overtime into a yellow. Overtime into yellow. I mean, it is what it is. That's racing, but it just kind of sucks that that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall vibes, I think Daytona 500 is going to be a good race this year. Looking forward to seeing what Helio can do on track in a stock car. Because, I mean, one of the greatest IndyCar drivers, full stop, to ever do it. So I'm always excited to see those open wheel guys go over into stock cars. And I'm always excited when those stock car guys come over into open wheels. Always look forward to the guest drivers at the 500. Looking forward to Kyle Larson this year at the Indy 500 as well. Which I'm just going to say, some of the predictions I've heard floating around, I've heard some people saying Kyle Larson top 3 at the Indy 500. Huh. And by some people, I'm just going to name him Marcus Ericsson.
Really?
Yeah. Huh? He said he's not allowed to win the 500 because that would just look bad for everyone.
Yeah, but, I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I love motorsports come together, some parity between, maybe not parodies, but some crossovers. We love a good crossover episode.
Yeah.
And the more, I don't think any series should be looked at as the enemy. IndyCar is not the enemy of F1. F1's not the enemy of IndyCar. IndyCar is not the enemy of NASCAR. NASCAR, and so on and so forth.
The only enemy is the FIA.
God bless America. Because guess what? And I think we need to see that and come together as motorsports fans, and we should be happy when stuff like this happens, where Helio's coming over, or Kyle Larson's doing the Indy 500. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's the world class drivers getting to drive world class vehicles. What more can you ask for? Cinema.
And look, I'm just going to say on the topic of hate, if you just happen to be picked up on the algorithm on this and you turn your nose up at oval racing and you think it's boring, I can tell you you've never watched an oval race. Give it a shot. I was of the same mindset like 3 years ago. Then I started really watching IndyCar. Brother, ovals are
Can't
some
hate
of
it.
the best racing. I think
It's
100% most entertaining race we went to last year was the Nashville Grand Prix.
Yeah, Nashville was great. Oval racing is great, and in person it's cool because you can see the whole track.
Yeah.
And that's not something you get a lot of places. And I in-person races in general is hard to follow, but ovals make it a little easier because with telemetry, a spotter guide, and your eyes, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
It's very manageable, and you can see. And if you're, especially if you're of that, I want one person to win. That's all that matters, which is awesome. You just have to keep your eyes locked on one car,
Yep.
and you can just watch them go. It's great. Oval racing is great. Obviously have the stereotypical joke. Imagine the South Park episode. Oh, I'm gonna drive and go fast and turn left sometime. Like that whole episode. Like it's obviously it's hilarious. We love South Park,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of layers to oval racing that I don't think a lot of people understand with the tire management, the fuel management, managing lap traffic, and once you truly look at it, it's awesome. Like it's
Yeah.
so cool how many things these drivers are juggling. I mean, watch their hands while they drive. How many buttons are getting pressed? The adjustments in the rear end and stuff. Patrick knows a lot more about that than me on the oval side because you've looked a lot more into it on the adjustments of the tow bar and all
Yeah.
that stuff. It's cool.
And
It's
like
awesome. And
the strategy side of it. Like, I mean, Nashville, we didn't know who was going to win until 5 laps from the end, maybe. I mean, until David Malukas had to pit, you had David Malukas, Pato O'Ward, and Colton Herta all up there. You had you had David Malukas on an impossible strategy. They were hoping for a yellow that never came. Then you had Colton and Pato on completely different strategies. Colton on a hard charge late pit stop, Pato on a fuel save early pit stop strategy. Both of them worked until they hit lap traffic. That was a 50-50 race. Pato just got unlucky with lap traffic. I think Colton would have caught him at the end no matter what, because when you're trying to fuel save, it's hard to paddle on a super speedway. But I mean, speaking of super speedways, Ryan, you wanna go ahead and take us into the topic of every episode?
Kentucky Speedway. We need you. Be something more than a parking lot. That's all I ask of you. Gallatin County, you are a bunch of pussies. Man up and do something.
Hey, Gallatin County, respond to my emails. I emailed the county commissioner earlier, actually, I guess last year, but last year, offering the services of Outside Line Media to help promote races at the racetrack and get racing back in Gallatin County and help your tourism. But obviously, you guys don't care enough to actually take up free help that is being offered.
They need something, and I just don't think there's. I was reading some articles the other day, and basically what someone said was it was part of the Kentucky Tourism Division basically came out and said, I don't think this track can be profitable, period. Full stop is basically what he said. Because he says even when NASCAR was here, we didn't make much money.
Yeah, because they were giving tax breaks on tax breaks on tax breaks. We're still paying those tax breaks. Fun fact.
I just wish that they would do something with it. It's hard because you're going to need some big money investments to keep that place.
You could do some cool stuff to it. The infield's big enough you could throw a drag strip in the middle. You could throw a road course through it. Like, do something, guys. Do something.
Yeah, run it. Run anything. It doesn't have to be NASCAR.
Yeah.
You don't need to fill the grandstands. You don't need to have all the concessions open. Segment it a little bit.
Hell, we need a paved oval around here. Throw a short track in the
Legends Oval,
infield.
or
There
Legends
was a
Oval.
Legends Oval in the. I think it might be gone. I know it was gone from the iRacing rescan that they did, but it
I don't
can't
think
be
it's there
that
anymore.
expensive to add it back.
You just add them.
Like the closest paved oval is like 2 hours away from us. I think we figured out. It's up near Dayton. We have 2 successful dirt tracks right in our backyard, literally 30 minutes from each other. We've got one across the river that way and one down the river the other way, and they're both successful in bringing high stakes, high paying series. We need a paved oval. I'm just gonna say that we need a paved oval.
Kentucky, in summary, come back, Gallatin County, stop being a bunch of pussies, man up.
Email me.
The problem you have on your hands. Email anyone.
Even if you email me back and just say, "Oh yes, thanks, but no thanks. It's out of our hands." At least give me an email back and don't ghost me.
And if they demolish that track, I will be chaining myself to part of it, and I will not move.
I'm chaining myself to the top fence of the grandstands.
Yep, same. I'm gonna sit there on my handcuffs and go, if you want to tear down this track, you have to tear down me.
Yep.
And they will probably get some bolt cutters and tear me down, but I'll put up an effort. And that's all I can do.
Hell yeah. In conclusion, bring back Kentucky Speedway. Daytona 500 is going to be a banger. IndyCar on Fox has been a banger.
I'm so excited. I'm ready for a huge racing year. Next week, obviously, you're going to have Daytona 500 recap from us. Looking back on our predictions, seeing how we did. Probably, I'm thinking maybe make some point system, put some game on it.
Yeah.
See? And I hope everyone enjoys the Daytona 500, however they celebrate. I will be celebrating by getting belligerent.
Next week, we've also got we've got an exciting episode later in the week. Just kind of going over what our 2025 is going to look like this year. What races you're going to be able to catch up with us at. What races we're going to have on the ground coverage on. And we have some things in the work, but some of those might be some nice grassroots motorsports series that we're on the ground covering. So I'm excited to see how this all kind of plays out. How this, media and marketing thing happens.
Very excited.
And coming up soon, we'll have an episode all about what Outside Line Media actually is, other than just the podcast, everything we do behind the scenes. So stay tuned for that one. Not sure when that's going to go live. I'm thinking probably going to be around a little bit after St. Pete, probably, is when that's going to go live. So we've got some exciting stuff in the pipeline. Stay tuned. Turn on that notification bell. All the classic YouTuber stuff that people say that I really don't feel like saying, because you guys are just the best fans in the world. And you already know what you need to do. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. Ryan, final words to take us out.
Fucking weekend of the Daytona 500. Boogie, boogie, boo. Let's go racing.
Let's go racing. Have a good one, guys.